Hi everyone, my name is Steph, this is the Novelty Corner, and I am back with more books that I will not be reading. As always with these videos, my general disclaimer is, if you love these books, more power to you. I have no interest in reading them, and I'm going to share some of my reasons why. It is definitely not a statement that these are bad books. I haven't read them. I'm not going to say that they're bad books. In fact, I know so many people who love the books on this list, and that's fine. So please do not come into my comments and have a go at me. I just have no interest in reading these books, and I wanted to share my reasons why you will not see them turn up on my page, despite the fact that I currently have two people in my life actually actively trying to force me to read one of them. It's not happening. So we'll start off with that one because why not? And that is Fourth Wing by Rebecca Yarros. I'm not going to be reading this book. I know it is supposed to have great disability rep in it. I know it is supposed to be a training school for dragon riders. Can I tell you how much that the training school for dragon riders does not appeal to me at all? Or the fact that it's this big, or the fact that everyone has been screaming about it for months. Guys, honestly, when TikTok starts screaming about a book, I tend to go in the other direction. Why? Because let's be real, I have not had that much success with TikTok books. And I know that is a really harsh way to judge a book. Aside from that, it's also a fantasy book. I don't typically read fantasy books. I keep getting videos about special editions of this book, and I just keep going, scroll, why? Like I'm one of those people where like it's a very weird, small, narrow space where a book that is popular but isn't oversaturating the market is sort of where I am interested in popular books. But if we go too far in one direction, I'm just like, I'll leave it to those people who really want to read it. Like I don't feel the draw to it. And again, not a commentary on the book, just a commentary really on the way that it's been marketed. It has not been marketed for me. So we're going to leave that fantasy romance to the people who really want to read fantasy romances with dragons. That is not the space that I'm in at the moment. The next one will be unsurprising because I think if you've been on my channel for a while, you'll know that I'm not an Ellie Hazelwood fan, but I'm definitely not reading Love Theoretically by Ellie Hazelwood. I have tried Ellie Hazelwood. I don't particularly feel connected to her stories or her writing. I am not a fan of Reylo fiction, so that is not an appeal to me. Do I like books about women in STEM? Absolutely, but not enough to read the book. So yeah, that's not happening. Another one that I will not be reading, and this is a favorite book of so many of my friends, so sorry guys, I'm not reading it, is Forget Me Not by Julie Soto. I have no interest. I really don't. I know it's a contemporary romance. I know it is Reylo, somehow linked to Reylo, which honestly is the biggest turnoff for me. I cannot explain to you how much I am not a fan of Reylo at all. So if there is a book that I can even see a brief tangential link to it, I will probably not read it. And I hate that that's a criteria for me, but I literally cannot move on from that because I cannot stand the idea of Reylo. I know so many people like it. That's totally fine. I don't know what it is in my little Star Wars brain world that I can't get past that, but I can't. And despite the fact that it has a gorgeous US cover, the UK one is not as nice. So like I don't feel enticed that I need to have this cover in my life. You know, cool, quirky concept. I love the idea of, you know, a florist and a wedding planner. Anyway, cool concept. If it didn't have that link, and I know it is a brief, like it is so small a link, but it's there and I cannot get it out of my head. Yeah, we're not going there. The next two are actually hockey romances, and I want to talk about why I'm not going to read them. So the first one is Mile High by Liz Tomford, mostly because Liz Tomford has been involved in some controversy with another book in the series around the Black characters in her books. Admittedly, I've not paid close attention to it. I just remember hearing about it and going, okay, I don't know if I really want to read that. Also, again, this is another one of those hockey romance books that's all over TikTok, and I just, unless it's coming from one of my friends or an author who I've read, I don't trust BookTok's hockey recommendations. I really don't. That also goes for the next book that I'm going to talk about. Yeah, I'm not convinced. I have plenty of other authors that I have read and loved and have backlists to go through, and other books that are on my radar that I'm really excited about, and I do not feel the need to go into this space. And then the final book on this list, because I tend to do these in groups of 5, is Brutal Obsession by S. Massery, which again is another really popular hockey book on BookTok. And also in the general hockey sphere, because it is a dark college hockey romance. My issue with this one is that I'm pretty sure it has the hero bullying the heroine, and that is a hard no for me in books in general. I can handle if there is bullying in a book, but if it's between the hero and the heroine, I struggle with it. It was the issue that I had kind of with Claire Contreras' book, Until I Get You. That one, I think, from what I know about Brutal Obsession, does not go to the same extent as what I think it does in Brutal Obsession, which is why I read it. But this one, yeah, I keep seeing it, and I would be lying if I said I hadn't considered picking it up to try it. I'm not a dark romance girly, and there might be occasions when I pick up one and there'll be some reason for it, but typically on a whole, it's a much harder sell for me to read an actual dark romance. If I'm going to read a college hockey romance, I'm probably going to lean more towards something light and fluffy and contemporary because I just want a good time, as opposed to something that's going to cause me a great deal of stress. So that's why that one is not on this list. So those are 5 more books that I'm not planning on picking up. Please do not feel the need to convince me to read any of them in the comments, because I'm a stubborn person and I have made up my mind on these books. But what I am interested in is books that you are not interested in reading either. Because I think we so often talk about all of those books that we want to read, that we're excited about reading. I actually love hearing about books people are not interested in reading. Even if they're my favorite books, I'm not offended by that, because not every book is intended for me as an audience. Like I'm not the target audience for a lot of books and a lot of genres. Let's be real. Like my sphere of reading is actually quite narrow. I have a purpose for reading, so that's why my sphere is quite narrow. But yeah, I'm genuinely interested in books that you are not interested in reading. So feel free to share them down below, even if you just want to give like a 1 sentence, I don't want to read this book because. Like, I find that really fascinating. Thank you for watching my video. Feel free to let me know in the comments something that you are not interested in reading, or you are welcome to talk to me about these books, either if you agree with me or if you don't agree with me, as long as you're not trying to convince me to read it. Like, that's totally fine. To be honest, mostly I think that people like these videos because I just word vomit and look like a fool while talking about books and just going, I don't want to read it. And if that's what you like, that's totally fine too. I hope that wherever you're in the world, you're staying safe and healthy, and I will see you in my next video. Thanks so much for watching. Bye everyone.